Hello, everybody. We're coming to you live from Scottsdale, Arizona for the B2B Marketing Exchange. My name is Brian Anderson, and I'm the news editor at Demand Gen Report.
And I'm Klaudia Tirico, features editor with Demand Gen Report.
And with us here right now on the show floor, one of the most influential people under the roof, Mr. Lee Odden of TopRank Marketing. How are you doing, sir?
It's great. I'm great. It's great to be here.
Yes, it's such an exciting time right now.
So many people just walking around, mingling, having a good time. Had a lot of great sessions, a lot of great themes and takeaways from all of the keynotes and the breakout sessions. One of the things that I noticed about this event primarily was the main theme about B2B doesn't have to be boring anymore. Like the whole entire technical, in your own product centric sort of mentality. It's just not.
It's not working anymore.
It's not working.
Yeah, so a lot of our keynotes were talking about it today. Just really upping the ante on content, adding a little humor, just making things more interesting and just humanizing the whole experience. You know, you're not really just talking to businesses, you're talking to real people who are used to getting really cool curated experiences from other companies like Spotify, Netflix, and things like that. So yeah, you have to kind of stand out from the crowd now, and all this kind of fun content, interactive content, influencer content,
marketing and content. Yeah. So
all
from
that
the influencer perspective on that, are you seeing that more? That folks are looking to influencer sort of marketing strategies to get more creative with their go-to-market strategies?
Yeah, influencer marketing is a really big trend right now across the board, B2B, B2C. B2B has been a little slower to adopt, but what we're finding is that with so many people going after influencers, they're just putting them in the same old content, ebooks, white papers, blog posts, and infographics and that sort of thing. And that's all fine and good. It does add it lends some credibility to that content, but expectations are rising amongst B2B buyers in the way that you see a lot more consumerization of MarTech software, and you have more consumer-friendly type experiences with marketing software or technology interfaces. That same expectation amongst B2B buyers is transferring over to content. And so they're expecting more B2C types of experiences amongst the B2B brands that are dispelling useful information.
Yep, and you're seeing that kind of pivot, the mentality around the product centricity aspect of it to that customer, building that customer relationship, and you're seeing folks taking that type of approach. You had David Meerman Scott talking about it with giving away free things, oftentimes in the B2B marketplace.
filling out forms.
Always filling out forms. And
Right.
the number of forms I got to fill out in the day just to do research is kind of mind-numbing, but you're seeing a lot more organizations now getting into the idea of, content can be free, content can be, provide value and start that relationship.
Yeah.
And there's times and places for the forms and for the contact information.
Yeah, and giving that stuff away for free, sometimes it just leads to good karma, so it'll come back and it'll be beneficial to your business.
And that's kind of the exact same thing, getting that karma with the free stuff. I scratch my back, you scratch your back when it comes from an influencer marketing perspective.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. A lot of companies are putting far too much confidence in their nurture emails and being far more effective at getting buyers to do what they want them to do versus content that is ungated. And when you have frictionless content that has the added benefit of having industry experts included in that content, now we've got something that is more credible. And if it's amplified by those influencers, it's going to reach audiences that are ignoring those B2B brands' ads and their formal marketing communications. And then there's some other things you can do in terms of interactive and more creative, the not boring treatments of content to make it even more effective, even though it's ungated. And ultimately, you'll be a more effective tool at helping to attract and engage audiences to then do organically what you want them to do. Help them lead themselves to the conclusion that you as a vendor, or your software, or your product is the best choice.
Yeah, definitely. And you're seeing taking that kind of a mentality with your go-to-market strategy, whether it be through your messaging or through your content, the idea of building that relationship and creating a fan base within your customer base is that was a big main talking point from David Meerman Scott's session and Tim Washer's session as well. About there was a lot of mutual agreement around you're not looking to just close deals and create customers, but you're looking to build relationships, memorable relationships with these folks, and ultimately turn them into adoring fans that are willing to, help you out in these types of circumstances, especially in the B2B marketplace when you don't have industry influencers on Instagram taking pictures with your products all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And David had one of my favorite quotes from David today was, fandom is not about your products or services, it's about relationships with the people and a shared emotion. So you really need to kind of think outside the box and relate your content to the audience, and just really kind of express that and have that kind of shared emotion. So it's really interesting. Some questions for you. You had a really awesome presentation today on interactive influencer content. So only 23% of CMOs say that they are producing the right content and delivering it at the right time, in the right format. So 23%, that's kind of low, right?
Yeah, it is. It is pretty low. And I think that the bar of expectation for CMOs in content and marketing performance continues to increase as pressure on CMO performance increases. As we all know, CMOs don't have the longest tenure when it comes to the C-suite. So the pressure is on to deliver results, and I think that a lot of the pontification and advocacy amongst MarTech vendors that these are the kinds of results you should expect with content marketing aren't necessarily being realized. And I think the reasons why are varied. Could be that they're not investing in the technologies that they need to support that kind of targeting, that kind of delivery and timeliness. It could be not using outside expertise to help create the strategy that would actually inform that kind of approach.
Right.
But ultimately, they've got to not sit and complain about it, but they've got to do something about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I saw that you did a Twitter poll about different content formats in general, about which ones were the most boring. I saw that white papers were the most boring, and it makes sense because white papers are boring, but there's still a foundational, concrete asset within the marketing strategy.
Yeah, our research has shown that white paper, buyers are still, reading white papers and they're still doing it, but
it is
not
interesting.
That fun.
There's this simultaneous truism that they're both boring and yet effective.
Yeah.
And so there's an opportunity there. And Michelle Lero from PTC gave a really great quote in an asset we created to promote this event, and talked about, people are still reading traditional formats like white papers, ebooks, and blog posts and that sort of thing. But what you've got to do is create visually engaging content to capture people's attention and give them an idea of what to expect. What are they going to get if they go through that gate? What are they going to get if they have to endure the black text on a white background for a while,
Yeah, you guys created this awesome Serious experience with some of our speakers. So that was really cool. So that's basically a form of interactive influencer content, right?
Absolutely, that's the whole idea, walk the talk.
Yeah, exactly. So for those who haven't dipped their toes in influencers or influencer marketing in general, what kind of advice would you give them?
I think if you're just thinking about influencers, working with influencers, you got to think about what it is that you want to achieve, right? So, if you're launching a new product or your challenger brand, you want to get a leg up on the leadership or whatever, you got to think about what is it that you want to achieve, what are the topics around that goal, and find people who already have influence. And I think if you're just starting out, you should look at your own employees. I think you should look at, use social monitoring tools to identify people who are already saying positive things about your brand in the context of that topic, and invite them to co-create some useful content for the industry. Just get started, put your toe in the water, and just see what that exchange is like, see what the quality of the content is that comes out, and how successful you might be at trying to build a use case.
Yeah.
And out of that, you're going to get some data, and we all know, use case with data and performance information gives you a lot more ammunition too maybe, ammunition to get budget, to start rolling things out more in earnest. And then you can start investing in technologies, influencer relationship technologies, specialists, and other things.
Yep, really important. There was a part of your presentation you showed there was like a microsite that had a voice assisted aspect of it. I'm seeing a lot more of these different types of voice assistants. There's a big conversation in the space now around like chatbots and their impact on content engagement. I'm curious if you could tell us a little bit more about that and what these types of new forms of engagement are doing when it comes to content in particular.
Sure, and it's a function of empathy around what it is that your buyers are expecting, in terms of how they want to discover, consume, and act on information, right? And obviously everyone knows what Siri is and Alexa, and their whole mechanism of using voice to get what you want, to get information, is a model that's in everybody's head, and this is something that everyone can relate to. So in the case of this B2B campaign, we manufactured a simulated voice assistant named Penny. It was for a corporate performance management software company selling software into financial planning and analysis marketplace. So, whoa, this doesn't spell sexy necessarily. And so, the topic was around machine learning and finance, and so what better way than something that is powered by artificial intelligence than to use as a mechanism for navigating this useful content from influencers. So you could use this voice assistant to find topics around finance and AI, and then the content would be delivered to you in audio as well from industry influencers. And that thing had 600% more engagement than we had as a goal.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And 75 or 80% of all the content was created by the participating influencers, not by the brand and not by the agency.
Another hot topic actually throughout the day, I sat in on a session presented by Maureen Maggioni of Pardot, as well as a demand gen power panel of some awesome ladies in demand gen, and a lot of talk around AR and VR as well. So how are you expecting those two kind of new innovations to kind of change content marketing in 2019 and beyond?
With our work at our company and B2B influencers and content for the last 6 or 7 years, we have some really sophisticated clients in their maturity in the space, and they're asking us for new experiences. What are some of the new content experiences that can really differentiate not only information that can be consumed by buyers, but information that will be compelling for influencers to be a part of? And so VR and AR is starting to emerge a little more in popular culture, and it's something that people can relate to. And so we actually developed a mock-up of sort of a Blade Runner-esque type of dark environment with some influencers displayed in different signage in this little mini city, and how you could move from one place to another. And we actually had a Fortune 50 company buy that from us, and so we're now developing a campaign. And I think we'll see how that goes. It's a proof of concept sort of thing, but I think it's the kind of thing that can not only engage people in a fun and interesting way, it's got to deliver results, right? And so one of the other applications I think VR can have is in an on-site activation at an event like this, where you could have a booth and you could have people come and they could put on VR goggles and they could experience information from industry influencers, and then we could have actual influencers there to answer questions or do a mini presentation or do other kinds of real-life activations concurrent to whatever complementary content you might be creating digitally.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that we're really hitting it, because I think there's no substitute between on and offline integration. And I think that was one of the topics that was talked about from the keynotes.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely. I wonder if it's time to B2B to go VR. Maybe.
No,
Maybe.
I like the in-person element. I like to meet everybody.
But B2B from the comfort of your own home.
We'll try it.
Maybe one day.
Maybe it's in our. We got to check if it's in our budget.
Well, we'll maybe figure it out. But we got a lot in store. There's a lot of networking, mingling to do, that sort of thing. Thank you for joining us today. We have a lot in store tomorrow as well. We're going to have Brian Fettenzo, the millennial extraordinaire, taking the stage as well, and a lot of other great panels, keynotes, and breakout sessions. So be sure to stay tuned, because we're going to give you a recap then as well. So take care from Scott. Have a good rest of the night.
Thank you.